Hi, my name is Jake Thompson. Thank you for joining me this week on another edition of the Weekly Fumble. Only one ranked game this week, so let's talk about it. Number 24, Michigan visits number 5, Wisconsin. It should be a great game. Wisconsin is first in the nation in total defense. Michigan is third in the nation in total defense. But before we get to those picks, let's talk about some games last week, some blowouts. Auburn and Georgia. Auburn beat Georgia, the number one team in the country last week, 40-17. They just blew them out. They blew them out the doors off of the Georgia Bulldogs and won that game by respectively 23 points. Now, on the other hand, another top 5 opponent went down big in Notre Dame. They lost 41-8 to Miami. Both games on the road for Notre Dame and Georgia, so they're looking to bounce back this week. I think they will. Notre Dame's got Navy. They're favored by 18. I think they'll win by 25. Georgia has Kentucky. Kentucky hasn't beaten Georgia in 7 meetings that they've faced off against them. Georgia's favored by 21.5. I think they'll win by at least 25. Now, I just want to say this. Georgia fell to number 7. Auburn's at 6. Wisconsin's 5. But the biggest surprise of the college football rankings was number 2, Clemson. I mean, I understand why they're number 2, but why is it Miami number 1? I mean, listen. Alabama, yeah, they're 10-0. They're a great football team. But Miami should be number 1 in the country because of the caliber teams that they've just beaten back-to-back weeks. A top 15 opponent, Virginia Tech, and then a top 5 opponent in Notre Dame. They blew Notre Dame out. They blew Virginia Tech out. My question is, why isn't Miami number 1 in the country? But that's nor here nor there. The college football rankings, they come out on Tuesday, as we all know. And Miami has Virginia this week. Hopefully they don't get a letdown. I don't think so. I think Miami wins that football game very well. But listen, the big game that we want to talk about, everybody wants Wisconsin to lose except for Wisconsin. Listen, Wisconsin, people will say that, oh, well, Wisconsin hasn't played anybody. They haven't played the caliber teams that other teams have. Well, but they've beaten everybody on their schedule. They're undefeated for a reason. They have the number 1 defense in college football. I mean, what more can you ask for Wisconsin? Many people were thinking that they were going to get snubbed out of the Final Four. Well, if they lose this football game, they will. They're not going to get snubbed, but if they lose this football game, they will not get into the Final Four. But the game, let's get to it. They have tremendous defenses. This is going to be a defensive game. I think Wisconsin can run the football better than Michigan. I think that they're going to get that running game going early. At home, it's going to be a 12 o'clock kickoff. I think it's 11 o'clock local time, but no worries for the Wisconsin Badgers. They proved themselves today, and they beat the Michigan Wolverines. And the naysayers, well, they're going to continue to naysay, but nobody really pays attention to them. Anyway, Wisconsin wins the game. Thank you for joining me this week on another edition of the Weekly Fumble. I'm Jake Thompson. Salute.